นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมพุทธายะนะโมธัมมายะนะโมสังฆายะ We pay homage and respect to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened Gautama Buddha. Good morning to all of you across the world. Good morning on the other side of the world, which is the east side of the world. And good afternoon to the evening here in the United States, which is also 12 a.m. So it's good morning to everybody. I was right. Today, whatever, night, day. It is Christmas Eve now, and it's going to be a very deep talk. It's a talk, usually when I say deep talk, I've been contemplating it for a very long time, maybe a week or two. So at this time, all of my social media is up, but only one Facebook account because Facebook has been not behaving. And so therefore, uh, those who do not have me on YouTube, please go to my YouTube. To today's talk is about how I plan to expand Buddhism within my own school, my own methods. Everyone knows that the way how I teach, it's called the School of Qi the School of the Intelligent Way. Qi Dao, Tridao. Qi means intelligence, Dao means the way. So I teach the intelligent way towards the path of enlightenment. In um, in summary, it just means that I teach you how to be less stressed and how to transcend your suffering. Everything that the Buddha taught, I teach. The one and only historical Gautama Buddha taught, I teach. I teach in a fun, engaging way, and it's not so dry. I think everyone knows that. Those who've been following me for a very long time knows that it's fun, engaging, very real, very on point. And it gets really real to the point where you hear the F word come out in the SHIT, all sorts of words come out during one-on-one sessions. Um, I would imagine that I am a monk unlike any other monk you've ever seen in the world in your life, just how real I am. And of course, as I profile other monks too, they keep it very cordial and in accordance with the heritage of the bhikkhus. We have a lot of competing situations that's going on right now. What does that mean? That means the existence of the secular world, the rate of violence, the rate of hate speech and crime. We got racism, we got police stuff going on, police shootings, Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter, everyone's lives matter. We have a lot of issues going on in the world. And it seems like we're losing grip of everything, actually. Everything is kind of like out of control. So if you've ever thought that as you watch CNN and all of that, it's you're not the only one. It's very overwhelming for me, particularly me, because I was trained in college to make an impact in the world at Eckerd College here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Um, I don't regret paying $100,000 for the bachelor's program there. It's because they literally cultivate you to change, make an impact in the world in some way, shape, or form. The making of this particular monk is about, I would say, up to $1 million with all of my mistakes, education, experience, and training. So one could consider me, I don't know, maybe a spiritual doctor. These are not official titles. I use a lot of adjectives and titles that are not commonly used to describe what's at hand, what's at stake, and what it means to the people. So first, I just wanted to identify the problem and then how we're going to fix the problem here in the world, in the United States. So again, the existence of violence, Glock switches, kids shooting cops, kids running away, kids committing suicide rates. And at the time of this talk, citing Twitch, Stephen Twitch Boss, who took his life. Again, I've cited that from the dawn of time about the accumulation of human despair and how it leads people to commit suicide very quickly. My program is called the Rapid Realization Program, the School of Intelligence, School of Qidao, and it is aimed to reduce student suicides, mitigating teen suicides, and increase student resiliency. But that can also be interchanged with adults too. It's just not, you all see that I counsel from anyone from, what's the youngest that I spoke to? Like 10 years old, all the way to 80 years old. So a human's lifespan. As everyone well aware, that I emerged on or about 2018 publicly. Um, and so I started to play around with TikTok, and it blew up. And then within 9 months after that, I got 1 million followers. And at the time of this talk, 1.3 million followers. So it was very impactful. And then along the way, ever since 2018 until now, which is what, 4 years, 4 or 5 years, my teachings have reached more than 150 million with all of the podcasts and the shares and all of these algorithms put together. With Instagram blowing up to at 40 something thousand, 42,000, 43,000. So it's thank thank God, Buddha Dhamma, thank everybody for the existence of the virality of social media, in assisting the expansion, the unprecedented, never seen before expansion of the awareness of Buddhism, its teachings, and everything that comes behind it and within the monastic order. Um, this is the age of information, the age of people discovering new things, the curiosity into enlightenment, into spirituality. Definition of spirituality is knowing yourself and like what's going on in the world, what's going on with me, where have I been, where am I at, where am I going, and who do I want to go with. That is spirituality. The existence of the internet has helped people more in touch now than ever before, to be in tune with themselves and their family and their loved ones. Comes now with the existence of the world being the way that it is, the way that it started revolving, the influence of certain leaders in the world and how it has affected human cognition and human behavior have led us to where we are today. Social media, when used the right way, can be a good thing, and when it is not being used the right way, and when it expands to people who are not ready, we see the amount of protest and violence that it spreads. Central to today's topic about expanding Buddhism, I have decided to act on this suggestion recommendation from my students because of I try to be informed of what's going on, with the world, with the United States, and what's going on. And I realized that at the time of this talk, other monastics are also watching. Senior teachers are also watching, and other monks and Buddhist nuns, and that includes everybody across the world that's been following me. And this title will be changed to the controversial modality or controversial methods, something about controversy about expanding Buddhism, somewhere somewhere around that line. So everyone knows, and if you're not informed, I would invite you to go to my YouTube to start looking back the timeline of things, and my Facebook and YouTube have been instrumental as evidentiaries purposes in um, in the timeline of what I've been doing, what I've been continuously doing, the 99% of my talks and teachings have been live, so that it clearly shows the world, I didn't give this talk 5 years ago and now started to post it. It is in real time. It shows what's happening with the humans that I serve, the people that I serve, and why there is a need for more. A need for what? Well, the need to train more monks, the need to train more professionals to take on the mass of suffering in the world. So, my students over the past couple of weeks have hinted to me how we can expand Buddhism um, in a way that is consistent with the private world. Now, when I say private, it means the business world. Um, so let me add some more to the description real quick. Just bear with me. Everyone knows that I have been, so I do a lot of things, right? So I do a lot of things that other monks do not do. I have never seen, and I've profiled a lot of monks, and I have never seen a monk do one-on-one counseling. They do exist. They just don't do it live like I do, and I don't know how they do it, and I don't know where they're trained and how they're trained, and just the uniform disclosure of their summary of qualifications. So yeah, I just so again, these things are subject to being a hypothesis, and if you guys can gather evidence and present it to me, if you have found someone or any claims that I make here, if you could, um, if you wanted to to just look it up and see if if I could possibly have made a mistake, if that would help you, it would help me, it would help the rest of everyone else dispel any alarms or any suspicions of a claim. But I've again, part of the TikTok thing was it blew up. Then I made myself available to the public because I didn't realize the magnitude of suffering that was going on, and this was before COVID. Then I taught death meditation before COVID. It's in my nature to select certain potent teachings to teach to the world because I believe that the world could benefit from it. And then little did the world know, COVID came along, and blessed are those who participated in the death meditation to prepare you for it. Because when COVID came, it was a very scary thing for a lot of people, for a lot of reasons. Again, I do things that other monks don't do. They don't want to chase people away with some of these very potent, necessary, cardinal teachings and practice. I obviously, you can tell that I don't do it for the popularity. I don't do it because of being liked or being disliked. I do it because it needs to be done. The Buddha says, do what needs to be done, study what needs to be studied, and practice what needs to be practiced. So then, yeah, so part of the social media program was make myself available, publish my email, publish my contact, my phone number. My phone number is still public until this very day. Anyone can call for a one-on-one session. There have been thousands of one-on-one sessions so far. These are thousands of lives that have been impacted and have received world-class recommendation and advice on how to transcend their suffering. Somewhere down the line, the accumulation of local students, and now at the time of this talk, I am supervising some of these local students with my programs. However, fundings have been we've been at at negative. So therefore, my students suggested that we should expand Buddhism, and I said, yeah, how? They said, well, these T-shirts make a lot of sense, and I said, okay. So they designed these T-shirts that says "Create a New World," Jidao Monk, and it has my number and it has a logo or something similar to a logo. It's not official yet. And then it has the Facebook, Twitter, all of the logos of the social media so that people can find me or call me and stuff like that. And I said, "Oh, okay, great. So we're doing T-shirts now." Oh, okay. Well, this is going to be quite controversial because monks cannot engage into that type of business, cannot engage into um, earning a living, particularly this school of Buddhism, very strict. And I like that. That's why I chose the school of Buddhism. Again, the only thing we can ask for is a cup of water. We cannot do a lot of things. We have 227 rules, very strict. And then so a bunch of students got together, and then I started to make phone calls, and I'm like, well, who's gonna be handling this? And yeah, it sounds simple, it sounds great, but uh, how how are we gonna have a system here? So one of the student owns a business, one of the student has printing and all that good stuff, cutting out the middleman. And I was like, okay, all right, well, let me sit on this, let me think about it for a second. And we haven't launched anything yet because that's why we're having this talk. This talk and discussion today is open to criticism and it is open to opinions. And it's kind of like a poll, POLL, just like Elon Musk when he's like, hey, should I step down? He creates these polls so that people can jump in and let him know. So just hold your comments so far um, um, until you guys until the towards the end for a little bit. But I like to hear from all of you, including monastics and teachers and senior teachers, about about how are we going to expand Buddhism. And I'm acting on information where I'm at with the people that I'm with, the resources available to me. And I have watched so many students die as a result of lack of resources to serve them, to intervene on time. At the time of this talk, just today, as you are aware of some of the videos that was just published on TikTok, where I had actually took Stephen's CBT book to give to another one of my student, and I had to order a few more. And I published videos asking for, please, I need more books. I need more books. Uh, and I don't know if that request is going to be um, heeded. Um, it's very challenging being a modern day monk in a tradition that literally suffocates you and you can't really do much. I believe that the Buddha didn't want us to go this far like I have. Um, it's I mean he gave instructions on, yeah, y'all should split up and go and spread the teachings of the Buddha. And we have these situations here that is not the same 2566 years ago. We have more complex issues here that requires flexibility. And I joined the order to make it better, not worse. And I am committed to that. Forever will be committed to that. No if buts about it. It's just I will. I will always make Buddhism better. I will always make the Theravadan lineage tradition, um, the school of the elders better. And it is my standpoint to preserve the integrity and purity of the Triple Gem, particularly the Sangha. We know that previously a lot of holy men have misused, they're just off the chain, misusing money, engage in all sorts of unethical, immoral behavior. So obviously, don't become one, if you're in positions of public trust, in positions of any holy orders. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do. I mean, if there's good cop, bad cops, and good presidents, bad presidents, and good leaders and bad leaders, well, obviously you will have good holy men and not so good holy men. Um, so I'm sitting here scratching my head, and that I have made compelling cases before, and I'm noticing that people just do not act on these compelling cases that I have made with evidence that I need these resources to establish these programs and to sustain these programs and so on. It has been very disheartening, my journey as a monk, and many times I wanted to quit. Many times I wanted to, I just give up. But it is by and through some of the most heartwarming and honest messages, private messages, DMs, that keeps me going. And recently, reflecting on the current local students here and how it's just they're so good kids. They um, they keep the precepts. They don't commit crimes. They're studying. They're practicing. They're checking in with me. They're doing everything that they're supposed to do. And just last night, during a live talk, the student says, my parents really don't believe that I have this new passion for music, and all I wanted for Christmas is a keyboard that that does music. It's called, I don't know, something something. It's a keyboard where it's kind of like a DJ thing. It's $150. The student was so stressed out that their parents rejected them that they called me and they said, I don't know what to do right now because I really found a passion for music and they don't think that I can be successful with music. So what I did was I got on Amazon right there, like during this like live, exactly what you're seeing here. And I said, what's that thing called again? A V something E25, whatever it was at the time, at the moment. And I ordered the darn thing and I says, you'll be getting it January 2nd. And I wanted to assure the student that I believe in you and you do what makes you happy and you do what you believe. I have reason to believe that this student is very intelligent, and he is. If you go back to the talks, you will catch it. That it's well weighted, calculated decision. This is your passion. The student is going to go to National Aviation Academy. He's got backup plans. He's got plan A, B, and C. I don't understand what's going on with these parents. This year, I have dealt with a lot of unruly parents, very unskillful parents. Um, Very disheartening to watch as a monk, and to watch and to hear the reports of what kids have painted the picture of their parents, the rejection, the just everything. It's just the Buddha would shake his head. And so, well, the statement that I made was that I stand by you and I support you, even though your parents don't. You're going to get this keyboard because this keyboard is going to keep you out of trouble. You know how many kids right now are playing with a Glock 17 9mm and a Glock switch the size of this little tiny SD card? You're going to put in this Glock and make it full auto. You know how many kids right now around the world, in Italy and just everywhere, um, that planning to shoot, kill, lie, steal, sexual misconduct, intoxicating substances. Five precepts. They're going to break it all. They're going to break all 10 precepts. And here I have local students here who are so well behaved. So I drained my bank account. I did. No, I did it again. And then just hours ago, I I rewarded a couple more students. One of them came back from the army, and these are statements that I'm making when I'm rewarding them, which is operant conditioning, rewarding good behavior and not rewarding bad behavior. It's always been my MO, uh, according to operant conditioning in psychology. But furthermore, I'm making such an impact in their life, and even if I do die tomorrow, they're going to reflect on everything that I have said and have done for them, and so leaving footprints in their life. That's my thing. That's my goal, is to leave footprints in people's lives. Always happen, always have been, always will be. You know, Historically in my life, I've, always been a leader, a young leader. I've always impacted the lives of my friends. that we grew up with. Some of them have came back. Um, all of these historical reports. So many more books. I tell you that many more books are going to be written um, in my name due to the testimonies that have taken place. These are living testimonies. These are not just just, oh yeah, I'm just going to make up these stories and tell the whole world right now, and so on. And likewise, I have challenged the world publicly. Um, find someone here in Florida or wherever I have been across the world, Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, right, Cambodia. Have I been? I haven't been in Laos. God, Australia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia. That's it, Cambodia. I'm tripping. It's 12 o'clock at night. Um, I have challenged the world and said, if you find someone that tells you that I have taken more and gave less, I would disappear. I would go to Antarctica and just disappear. My whole life has been giving, and me becoming a monk is an example of all giving. All giving. It is no wonder in Thailand, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, all of the Southeast Asian countries, they have such high respect for monks because we have given up everything for the benefit of humanity, for you and for all. So it's just no wonder, that's when people are like, oh, well, why you say, why are you 35? You don't look 35. You look like you're in your 20s. Yeah, when you give more and take less, you rejoice the magnitude and just of giving. Today when I put these money in these envelopes for these students for their Christmas gift, I realized that, what do you think money do? What do you think that dollar bill, that $100 bill, actually? Do you even think it's real? Do you even think it's going to be here? What is the value of that? Because to see my country, Vietnam, the value of $100 bill goes up and down all day, every day. Matter of fact, those who invest in it really have a heart attack when the dollar goes down. What we do in Buddhism is what we call karmic currency, your little karmic bank. And what that means is, that's it. When you die, there's not going to be a U-Haul behind your hearse. All you can take with you is good things and bad things that you have done, how many people you've helped, how you have impacted the world. Period. It was one of the greatest feeling ever of giving more and taking less. And no one can really fully grasp that until you start practicing yourself, or in my case, have been practicing that since the dawn of time. Um, and so, you know, um, I just want everyone to just put all of the pieces of the puzzles that I'm presenting today together. Wait, I need to expand on that last talk for a second. So then, no, I don't, do I? So, so I put the money in the envelope. I gave it to them, even though these this couple last dollars was meant for like doctor's visits and co-pays. I didn't really care much. I just didn't. One of the students had financial problems with his institution, financial institution, and is awaiting for them to unlock his account. And he's here on leave, um, enjoying his time with family, and they locked his account, so he couldn't access it. So I just wanted to just bring a smile to him, and I just said, yeah, look, this is a statement that I made to him. Is that, look, I'm okay. Just I want you to enjoy the holidays with your family, and I want you to be happy and comfortable and flexible. That's it. I've been there. I've been in situations of destitute, that not having things, and it's just, when you don't have money, you just become really irritated all the time. It's just really hard to smile and always in constant worry. And so, as you all are aware, I was a CEO, And in my own company, again, challenge the whole world. Find someone that has worked for me that says, yeah, Cheetah was really cheap. He paid us this much and he used us for what we can be used for. Yeah. Find someone that says that, and I will leave the country. I will disappear in Antarctica. I will hang out with the polar bears. For the record, um, and I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Under penalty of capital life felony, under penalty of capital multiple life felonies, that when I had my company, I made sure people got paid 1/3 of what I made. And so therefore, it's like it's really easy to be a hated CEO when they don't like you and then they say that you're cheap and all that stuff. It is very difficult for them to come back and smile and say, you know what, we loved working for you. And you were one of the greatest CEO we have ever seen. And that is exactly what I did. It just to show, exemplify. And now I'm advocating for the pay of my local students who are applying for jobs. And they come back and they tell me, and that game where I ask them, how much you're going to get paid for this job? Why don't you ask them? And then the other side is like, well, how much are you expecting? It doesn't sit well with me. It does not sit well with me. Furthermore, some of them have the audacity to do that, knowing that I am their teacher. These are my students, and they play that game. So any company that's cheap and do not treat their employees right, I have a problem with that. My point is that I chose people over profit all day, every day, since the dawn of time. And great joy. I mean, again, you don't see me. Number one, I've never had a brand new car in my life. I've always had a used car. Yeah, I never owned like a house or anything in the entirety of my 35 years. It's like you made all this money as an interpreter, you made all this money as a CEO, you made all this money as this and that. Where exactly did all of your money go, Venerable Cheetah? Where did it go? And confidently expounded, it went to people. It went to people. And I'd rather see them smiling, rejoicing, happy, and comfortable. I never wanted none of them to feel like how I felt when I worked for people, when I worked for some of these doctors and lawyers that used me for what I could be used for. And y'all pay really close attention to that. To use people for what they can be used for. Because that's how I felt. And what did Maya Angelou says? I will forget what you said, I will forget what you did, but I will never forget how you made me feel. And because exactly how I felt that way, I developed my own policy and stood by my own policy when addressing my own employees, young employees, seasoned employees. And I made sure that they felt special, that they felt needed, special, that they have a place of belonging, and that they have a CEO that cares about them, that is always looking out for their best interests. Um, Not a lot of people can do that. You take any CEO right now, any owners, any directors, any business owners right now, and you ask them these questions. They cannot look you in the eyes and tell you, oh, yeah, I pay a minimum, and so some employers even cheat, um, out of the people's pay and bonuses and all this other stuff that's horrendous, horrendous. How people treat people these days. The Buddha taught, be nice. Be nice, give more, take less. Why is that so difficult to practice? It wasn't difficult for me. I don't understand why it's so difficult for other people. Likewise, as a direct result of giving so much in my life, I have unshakable faith and confidence in the workings of karma and how in my life, when I suffered, I did not suffer long. Did not suffer long. So you all learned today I drained my bank account for the benefit of my students. And does it look like I care? I don't. Why and how? Well, because I know that karma is going to come back and give tenfold, actually. And if it doesn't give, and even if I'm on my deathbed tomorrow, I would just, I'll be the first monk you ever see in the casket smiling. As a matter of fact, the funeral director is going to be like, this is weird because we've never had a body that smiles. I guarantee you, those funeral directors can tell you they've got bodies that fart all the time and twitch and do all these things, but they've never probably have a body that goes into the casket with a big smile. So, um, yeah, I just again unshakable faith and confidence of how karma works. Just from my own life and from the life of other people that I have been following with my own personal longitudinal studies. Um, of just when you give more and take less, karma got your back. It just simply does. And for the one who have suffered, and I have told them, cross-examine them, um, you think about other people. Yes, no. Donate to charity. Yes, no. They can't confidently say, I know when someone gives more and take less. And when someone is selfish, and I mean, who are you BSing? You can't. Who are you fooling? You can't fool. Who are you fooling yourself? You can't fool someone like me. You can't fool people who with altruistic hearts. People with altruistic hearts, they have a very keen, particular hearts. It's just like doctors working with doctors. They look at each other. They understand. They have a code of understanding of the Socratic oath. Or when cops look at cops, they understand the oath that they took. When monks look at monks, we understand the rules, we understand the expectations and the enlightenment factors. It's just so when someone, a generous person meeting another generous person, they would just know, their eyes just connect. And of course, when the total opposite, people be like, okay, dude, if that's your story, you stick to it. Oh, so let me reel this conversation back. So pending what you guys think, all of you across the world, about how I remain in monk robes as the monk to oversee these operations that my students are doing, okay, to raise the funding to continue our programs, or you all have the right to tell me, we think you should disrobe as a monk, be a layperson, and then oversee these operations because we feel that it's not ethical, it's not moral, it doesn't fall into the 227 rules. You all have the right to say all these things. I'm all ears. um I already told all of you down the road, I'm sorry, way back then, that I was going to disrobe, but I wasn't sure when. Now it doesn't mean I'm quitting to be a monk. It was to show the people how I behave and live my life while not in robes. It's the same thing. Whether I wear this or don't wear this, I've always been me. I haven't changed a bit in regards to giving and stuff like that. Now, maybe in my younger days, I was a little naughty and, just boys being boys, a boy being a boy, and gotten in trouble and stuff like that. But when we look at the good things that I have done versus all of the naughty things that I have done. Now, and I also wanted to exemplify the middle way, disrobing. So yeah, I mean, I came up to with this plan in my head that I was going to disrobe for like a couple months and then reordained, maybe part-time monk, and so on. Um, let me answer this 1 second. Lewis asked, "How can I become a student of yours?" You can get with me on my Instagram or send me a DM on Instagram, and then we'll make introductions. All of you have the opportunity to be my students. I don't turn anybody down. Even if you were a killer, would not kill. I would not turn you down. The story of Angulimala. Okay, so back Where was I? All right. So, there's choices that I can make in regards to this. It's like, and other monks have programs, other monasteries have programs too. You almost reflect that. You almost reflect. Venerable Chidao has a life-saving program where he meets with students regularly, where he talks to them, where he gives them cognitive behavioral therapy materials, books, materials, journals. Venerable Chidao has to be courteous to people who gave him a place to teach and to bring students in a safe environment to sit, gather, meditate, listen, conducive for education. Though they gave me the spot for free, it does not mean I take advantage of that and not put money in an envelope to give to people who I don't. It's not my MO. Everyone know that about me right here in Florida, all day, every day. It just doesn't work that way. It's not my policy to, oh, just because someone says, yo, dear Venerable, come to our place and use this place. And yeah, well, the light's on and that's generating electricity, and all of these wonderful media here generates electricity and Wi-Fi. And of course, thank goodness that people come to the blissful beginnings and put money in the donation box, and it all channels out to where it needs to go, because I want to be invited again back there, or anywhere that I go in the world. I don't want to be like the one monk that goes there and they're like, huh, yeah, okay. A true gift is one that you give and not expect anything in return. And I believe that these people have pure motive that, yeah, Venerable Chidao, look, please we don't expect anything in return. But yeah, it's not me. They're gonna get something in return. Even if I have to like get a part-time job somewhere and disrobe, whatever, it's gonna be repaid. End of story. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So um now let's bring our attention to my parents, who's been supporting me on the spiritual path. Without my parents supporting me on the spiritual path, none of these programs would have never, ever, ever been possible. Um, and I did not realize the magnitude of this program inspiring so many, but it costs so much. And it's like it's crazy to be a monk modern day, because you have students. When you intervene with this student, they're in a zone of their own reality and planet, and you have to get them out of that zone in order to have a conversation with them and inspire them, and all of these psychotherapy things. uh and that requires resources like, okay, all right, wait, why don't we grab lunch somewhere and sit and eat? And it can't approach a monk cannot approach in a monk's way and be like, come with me underneath this tree where there's a bunch of mosquitoes in the woods, and they're going to come bite you, and then tell me about your life, and let's start there. Yeah, definitely no. These are modern day kids. And when I mean kids, I mean anyone that's under 25 is an adolescent. Okay, that's been uttered in the Nancy Cobb adolescent textbook for college people. And so when we're dealing with people, it requires an approach. When students come to me for help, we have to create causes and conditions for them to relax and unwind and stabilize them, especially students who have um, suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation, like I've told y'all. And some of y'all were fortunate enough to tap in to some of these one-on-one thing, one-on-one on the when the student asked me, where can I get a gun? And one student was like, I'm going to commit this crime tonight. I have a ski mask, I have a gun, I'm going to do it. Everyone's been making a lot of money, they can get away with it. Look at all these towns. And I was just like, oh my God, you're gonna rob who tonight? Oh, you're telling me this? You're telling me, you're telling me this. You're not. Would you tell the Buddha that? Would you tell the Buddha that? The Buddha's sitting right here. Would you tell Jesus Christ that if he's sitting right here? Um, Appalled. I was just absolutely appalled with some of the stories that I have heard. And um, I had no power to, I have no resources to thwart. I mean, I obviously wasn't going to call the police because they didn't tell me where they're going to do it and who they're going to do it to. I mean, when I, they were smart enough to withhold information, direct information, so that I couldn't, or anybody else could report them. The modern day student is very intelligent. Not intelligent in a way that they're what they're doing, not keeping the precept, but that they're just so clever in what it is that they get themselves in trouble with. So it poses a lot of challenge for me, and again, it's going to be something that I'd like to take some time off to write about and publish these books. Um, just the art of Buddhist psychotherapy and the art of intervening the modern day adolescents, or somewhere down the line, those titles of intervening um, homicidal and suicidal adolescents using Buddhist modalities and methods. Whatever, you all get it. It's starting to sound like a dissertation already on here. Um, yeah, it's I don't know how I have not suffered a aneurysm while sleeping, just because some of these things that they tell me, it's so hard to like not be attached to it, and it's so hard not to be compelled by what they're saying because I've been trained to act on information that I have received. So I watched my primary care doctor die because of a brain aneurysm, Dr. Akshay Desai here. Um, And when I attended his funeral, they were like, "Yeah, this man thinks a lot. He has an MBA, he has an MD. He's always thinking." And I have reason to believe the man literally thought himself to death, literally thinking himself to death with whatever that was going on in his household and the future of his kids and whatever. So, um, yeah, a lot of brain power. I've been blessed to have the the training, graduating on time as a monk and serving the people. There were a lot of times where I questioned my own practice and was like, okay, Chidao, you are tripping right now. And you need to ask yourself whether you are getting too close to these students where your mind is tripping and your health is at risk. Maybe you should like really terminate all of your programs and return back to the woods like now. And it's some of these battles with the little lawyer in my head, and I was just like, I can't abandon them. I can't just up and go. You know what I mean? This is like I can take on the capacities. It's just it's me part. It's me being human. It's me being human. Um, and this is part of being a human monk. The Buddha was human. He achieved enlightenment by and through his own efforts. So by and through my own efforts, darn it, I can take on these cases of suffering, and I will figure my way out of my own little head and the stresses that I'm subject to because I put myself in that position. But the reward is so great. The reward is that changing lives. I mean, who gets to say that? I mean, yeah, so police officers, they change lives too. Yeah, doctors, they change lives too. But the type of lives that we change and how we change lives, um, how we change lives is lasting impact, lasting uh, longevity, the duration, the remaining balance in their life. Like, how do cops impact people's lives? Is they stop people's behavior? If you're using drugs, all right, let's put that away. Well, not put it away. I want to take it away from you. I'm gonna put handcuffs on you. Let's go to jail, get some time out, and think about your life and stuff like that. Doctors, they do the best that they can, but particularly monks. So, I've coined this term spiritual doctor, right? It's not like an official thing, but just look at me as a spiritual doctor. And the type of life that I change is changing and continuously to change is giving them skills necessary, skills that people have overlooked for so long, tools in their toolbox for so long to use immediately when crap hits the fan in their life, when breakups and attachment, love, finance, um, people dying, death, loss, all of these things that life throws at you, and no one knows how to deal with it except pick up a Bud Light and Budweiser and I don't even know my liquor, Corona and Crown and Captain Morgan, or weed and marijuana and stuff like that. Okay, so when I say changing lives, I'm giving them world class advice, world class recommendations. Oh, that needs to last a lifetime. They need to make effective and efficient choices the rest of their life. We're trying to mitigate mistakes. Um, some people make mistakes. Yes, I get it. Some people just so happens to make a mistake of a lifetime. Um, and it's also very disheartening and difficult to watch because it's just like how I'm just looking at these people who make these mistakes, and I'm like, how how is it that we're making these mistakes in modern day when the teachings of the Buddha has been around for 2,566 years ago? He taught us how to make decisions wisely. How are we still continuing to make unwise decisions? Did you know the Buddha existed? Have you ever seen one of us before? Have you ever seen the statue of a Buddha before? Hello? And so some of these things I just really have to like, oh, just like laugh about. Just like, so the expansion of Buddhism is very crucial, vital, and important. Where Buddhism thrives, humanity thrives. Your city, your town, your district, your county will thrive. Where Buddhism flourish, the whole world will flourish. Wherever region it is will flourish. In what ways? Well, people stop being greedy and stop being so angry and violent, and they would be filled with wisdom and not be ignorant of the truth of suffering. It's simple. You see some of these things that's unfolding in the world, and those who are new to Buddhism can say that they were ignorant of the teachings of the Buddha. That's why they're waging wars. That's why they're just off the chain with half the things that we're seeing here. uh, Injustice, discrimination, bias, hate, violence. You name it. You name it. The Buddha is shaking his head with some of the things that's going on right now. I believe that we can fix our world with Buddhism. Truly, it is the most effective and comprehensive educational system the world has ever seen. There is no other teachings that supersedes the empirical evidence that we have that we can in fact change the world based on what we have in Buddhism. Again, I challenge everyone to test that hypothesis. With all 84,000 teachings, the application and implementation of 84,000 teachings towards human suffering and the alleviation of human suffering and the path towards enlightenment and wisdom. So again, I just want everyone to just really absorb and reflect wisely about that. Okay, moving on, moving on. I can dwell on a subject for like ever. So you all tell me if me overseeing my students sell products that promotes me, my teachings and Buddhism, okay, merchandise, shirts, sweaters, hoodies, whatever it is that they're going to do. I'm overseeing them doing it. The integrity of the fundings and that whole system is going to be all set in place to ensure purity and integrity of such program. Um, and whether you all support this idea. This is just an idea. We haven't acted on it yet. And whether I should oversee such program, such whatever endeavor here, this business endeavor here, while in robes or out of robes. Okay. Um, the money goes to the programs that I have been discussing here, Miss Caitlin, who's asking here. The money goes to where exactly it needs to go. So I do have training in nonprofit organizations, what was part of one of the class at Ecker College and my research paper. I actually did my research paper at the Asian Neighborhood Family Center, where um, where my dad used to be employed and where I directly benefited from that program. And I did my research there, my nonprofit organization research. So they were very uniform about what they did. And I'm like, can I see all of your finances? And like all these folders are just out. So it's a very uniform way of doing things, and that's what I like about American policy. Certain American policies is because is that there's procedures, there's guidelines, there's laws, and the best way to do things is uniform. Everyone knows about it, needs to know about it, and anyone can access the records to hold people accountable. And that's always been my thing. I mean, literally, notwithstanding this talk, I could have not talk about these things and just did it. There's so many things that I can do, the power that I have, and to just do it and violate rules and precepts and all these things, and no one would even know about it. Or so I think no one knows about it. The Buddha says three things cannot be hidden: moon, the sun, and the truth. I live by that. And therefore, everything that I do has always been uniform, has always been visible, ah, and subject to praise or blame, subject to everything that you all have the option to do. So, therefore, again, um, I want everyone to reflect on how we're going to expand Buddhism, what's the best way to do it, how I should oversee some of these wonderful endeavors that the creative students are coming up with, um, and whether I should be in robes or out of robes to do so. This being out of robes exempts me from, oh, we can't believe you're doing this as a monk, and this is not within the heritage of the bhikkhus, and so on and so on, right? Um, being in robes would mean, yeah, he's awesome. He has these things. I mean, I think you all can entertain this in your head, where this is going to go and how this is going to go, right? Whatever the case may be, and how the poll yields its results from the opinions of the people, the weighted opinions from the people. So please be thoughtful and don't just throw stuff out without being thoughtful. I like for you all to put an intelligent, thoughtful time and energy and effort into your comments and into what we're doing here, and not just say, some of the impulse comments that your typical Joe would put, and it would determine, for me to make an informed decision. I want the vote of the people. This has always been about the votes of the people. And on TikTok, I told you all that when I reach 1 million followers, I would be doing great things. And this is one of those great things that we're doing. And I have consented to a warrantless search. Anyone can search my phone, whatever it is that you want to search, go have at it. I've already said I don't owe nothing. I don't want nothing. I don't even have a card in my name. Okay. So in regards to the integrity of the monk, that has to be established. That has to be uniform and visible. Okay. All right. So lastly, lastly, let me use the restroom for like 10 seconds. Literally, watch how fast I use the restroom and come back. Hold on. All right. Lastly, we know that um, U.S. government is having. Someone puts 20 seconds of. Yeah, that was 20 seconds. Usually it's 10 seconds, but that one was 20 seconds. We know that U.S. government is having an issue with TikToks for the past 3 years, and I have reason to believe that they may um, disband uh, TikTok. They might eliminate TikTok. So that means that the potential and likely chance to promote Buddhism would be a little bit harder, right? We all know TikTok's just the way how they reach people with the For You page and all the algorithm is the world has ever seen any platform that can do that. Therefore, it creates a sense of urgency for me to approve this new business endeavor that my students want to do in the name of expanding Buddhism. So again, I like everyone to take that into account. I'm giving you all the evidence, putting the puzzles together so that you all make an informed decision, choice, weighted opinion, whether you dissent or accent to what's going on here. Why do we need the fundings? So I have so many programs. Sometimes I'm like, which one again? The programs affords robes for people who wants to be ordained part-time, temporary ordination program, also known as a part-time monk program, for both male and females. We all know that last month, I have been supportive of the Buddhist nun and the Bhikkhuni order. Okay, the funding goes to more CBT books, journals, writing equipments, instruments, a lot of schooling situations. A lot of students have to pay out of pocket for college, and you know who don't could not qualify for scholarships, and so on and so on. It affords for us to go. Um, it affords field trips necessary for students to absorb what's happening in Buddhism. Change by seeing. What does that mean? Um, so this upcoming 2023, I'm scheduled to travel outside of the country, before making my rounds in the US. So I'm not sure which city I'm going to go first. And I need to visit some senior teachers, California being one of them, Canada being one of them, New York being one of them. And when you travel to different places, your perspective changes. This is why I haven't announced yet, but when I'm telling you all, look, I'm inviting you all to come with me to Vietnam, for example, and you go there with me. And if you have not seen the First Noble Truth, trust me, when you go to Vietnam with me, you will see the First Noble Truth. What does that mean, seeing? That means you will most likely internalize birth, old age, decay, disease, decay, birth, old age, decay, disease, and subsequently death. You want to progress, you want to grow spiritually, you have to see the four sights. We have to replicate what the Buddha did and what he saw. In order to do that, you have to get yourself out of your environment and go out and see things. Now, for students here locally, of course, y'all know there ain't no funding for them to go to Vietnam with me, but the money goes to them affording the time and creating the causes and conditions for them to go to like nursing homes, volunteering at hospitals, hospice, also now empath health. All these programs that I got going on for them to ensure that they have seen, experienced for themselves the Four Noble Truths. Um, there are students, I mean, just have no phone, have no laptops. We lack so much necessary things to keep the programs going. And the only way to keep the programs going is to resort to the private sector. I couldn't tell y'all how many times, and it is so monastically embarrassing to appear multiple times as a young monk, but I couldn't wait because the more you wait, the more kids take foolish actions and contribute to more pain and suffering in the world. You know. So let me see if I left out anything during this talk. You all know that last year we had new 200,000 millionaires, new in the United States. Last year, life insurance payout exceeded 10 billion, right? 10 more than 10 billion dollars. Guess what? I postulate none of them went to Buddhism. None of them went to Buddhism. And so therefore, what does that tell you about America? That they take more and give less, right? Remember that we live in a individualistic society, a very self-centered society where people just don't give. They don't know. I don't know. I guess they don't know how to give. On Instagram, there was this guy that held this sign. He says, "I'm depressed," and he's someone to talk to. Everyone walked right past by him. Literally everybody. Nobody stopped to ask him. Yeah, I have a couple minutes. I'm wondering about. You would tell me your story, and we can figure this out together. Because that requires them to stop in their day. They can't even afford time to listen to a guy that could possibly be suicidal. However, it was an experiment he did, and he flipped the sign over, and the other side of the sign says free money. Free money. And there was like, money attached onto it, and everyone ran over there and tried to like get it off the tape, and off they went. And I thought that I was the only one. Before watching this video, I was like, I must be a terrible monk. It must be me. I must be not doing something right. Like, I don't understand why I put myself out there and my programs out there. I don't even know. There are days where I'm like, what? It's just a lot of blaming and self-blame, and just really hard on myself because I'm just like, I don't understand why there's 1.3 million people, but no one gives. um, until I saw that video, which reinforces. Likewise, when you go into hospitals, you see the wall of philanthropists, people who have made the hospital possible, and through all their programs and all of the programs to pay for medical bills that people cannot literally afford, like the destitute population that comes in there for surgeries. It's a really beautiful wall. I always go in there and find inspiration to some of these names that have made a difference in the world, in our community. But I would like everyone to go and just notice how small that wall really is in comparison to a city of 3 million people. Look at the wall. It's really small, and it's really sad when you really think about it in a deeper sense level, a more profound level. And so therefore, my own statistics tell me the same. It has yielded the same results, which is at the time of this talk, on this very day, the amount of total donations have been on or about $7,000, and I don't think it exceeded more than seven. That meant every year that I have been a monk, $1,000 in donation per year. One must ask, how does he really sustain his programs? In 2018, 19, 20, I think like 4 years straight. I think this is the only year. I think this was the only year that people don't see me in the hospital as much as I was in the hospital uh, over the past 4 years. Over the past 4 years, I've been in the ER a lot. It was like the frequent flyers program in the ER. And a lot of it has. Oh, there's the power bank. So these laptops are powered by these power banks, and then I charge solar power so we don't leave carbon footprints. um, so like half of it was dealing with existing medical issues, but the other half was really stressing out. As a young emergent monk, the, the one thing you don't do is to get up there and start asking for donations as a young emerging monk. You need to like be a monk for like a good amount of time, reaching to your near decade, literally near 10 years before you start asking for donations. And it better be a compelling case. You can't just um, just get up there and do. A lot of senior teachers would be like, again, you would make Buddhism look very bad. And so I had to just throughout. I mean, I swear, in another one of my books is going to be the biography of Venerable or his journey in helping people or something. Um, and it was very challenging, the emergence of that. Yeah, but I got past all of the challenges, and then now training other monastics to how to deal with these challenges when they graduate, when they're done with their internship, their sorry, apprenticeship, their 5 years. So cultivating the next batch, next school of monks to deal with the masses of suffering in modern days. Again, in regards to that aspect, we have monks in Thailand and Vietnam and Sri Lanka and Cambodia who also struggles with technology and do not. I had one monk where his laptop blew up, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Really? How did it blow up?" And apparently, for example, in Vietnam, they have this clever idea of going into the laptop and taking the original parts, because the original parts are like really cool US made parts or high quality parts, whatever, the chip and stuff like that, and then replace it with really cheap ones, um, generic ones. And of course, it doesn't wire right. The battery is not its original battery, and it literally blew up. And when when I'm hearing this, as the main supporter for these few monks, and I'm like, you're not lying to me, right? So I've obviously never heard of laptop blowing up, smoking and stuff like that. Show me the laptop, and the laptop is shown. And I said, raise your right hand. I'm going to place you under oath. And I did. I was kind of like a judge. I was like, you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. and oh, I swear, some of these things is just unreal. But I promised to them that I would continue doing my hardest to send the necessary resources, and this is part under resources, which is the necessary equipment that they need to facilitate education, to further their education and training. Mind you, at the time of this talk, all of my laptops are used. None of them purchased brand new. Matter of fact, the reason why I can't um, even respond to by texting onto the TikTok iPad, because the iPad is the 12.9 older. I don't even know what generation that is. And I tried to put this little keyboard, the Bluetooth thingy to type to y'all. It does not even. I try to hit that last talk with the one gal. Um, I tapped it. I tapped it like reply, and I was waiting to like type it. When I hit reply, I swear, Apple's doing stuff so that people just like they just push you to go buy more things. They don't want you to use old stuff over and over and over again. But very frustrating. And again, anyone can execute a warrantless search in here and search for these laptops. Look, this laptop. Hold on, let me see if it's the okay. Still has the, still has the. Y'all can see this. Still has the What pawn shop is this? The That's not Value Pawn, because most of my stuff is purchased at pawn shops. That's because it's cheap. It's used. What pawn shop is this? Um. Oh, hold on. It's Pawn Max on 4th Street. Pawn Max on 4th Street, right there. So like some of these laptops right here, so like that's how old some of my laptops are. So it's like I can't even tell them, yeah, I want to send you mine because even mine is like outdated and old. And mind you, right now only I'm not gonna let me stop complaining. Buddha cautioned us to be grateful, not to complain. So, anyways, I think you all get the point, right? I can sit here and go on and on and on and on and on, but that's not the point. So you all put all of this together, and you all give me your weighted opinion, right? It's one big challenge, and I don't mind the challenge as a modern day monk taking on these tasks. We're making so much progress. I think the last thing I wanted to address was my hope for fundings to establish immigration routes for monks to come here. We know that before COVID, I had intention of inviting Venerable Johnny Suksamai, and then COVID came and he died because of COVID. And I've never shared this with anyone, but it broke my heart into so many pieces. It wasn't even funny. It broke into some. I was left for months picking up pieces of my heart and super glued it back together because we lost a very talented, well-rounded. I think he was Laotian. He was Laos. I don't think he was Thai, but at the time of his death, or on or around the time of his death, he was actually studying in the Vajrayana tradition, the Mahayana tradition. He was already Theravadan, and he was just exploring other traditions. And it, oh, wow. There are monks on my list that is what I call cherry pick. What does that mean? That means that I have carefully put my sights on them, that they are well versed in the teachings of the Buddha, that they are bilingual, they have mastered English, they have so much to offer to us here in the US. And of course, this comes on the bottom of the priority list of what I have just mentioned, aforementioned above, that if there ever was, additional leftover fundings, it would be immediately channeled to get some of these guys over here under religious visas to contribute to knowledge, to contribute to what we need the most here in America, which is Buddhist education over entertainment. And when I say entertainment, y'all already know what's going on with entertainment, all this stuff going on. the dancing, the violence, the right wing, left wing political wars, all that. You don't need that. We don't need that. So again, my vision for this upcoming endeavor is these shirts that these students are making. I'm not gonna I'm gonna wait until you guys give me your weighted opinion on it, and then I will release whatever it needs to be released. Is more conversations on this side. These decisions are not made immediately. None of my decisions have been ever made immediately. It has to fall under so many policies on top of policies that I made. I've made policies on top of my own policy on top of that. And all of this is underneath the 227 rules for monks in the video. And every time when I'm talking to y'all and everybody else, I everyone is watching. All senior teachers are watching. From every single tradition is watching. Literally, you know, being a celebrity monk, everyone's watching for you to make a mistake, waiting for you to fall. A big bullseye. So it's a lot of stress. I mean, some of my talks, I mean, you guys see me have at it, but trust me, I aged like 50 years when I'm making the delivery and sitting there and this knocking in my head is spinning as I'm making the delivery. But again, I don't care. This is part of dedicating body, speech, and mind for the benefit of humanity. I don't care if I die in my sleep, um, you know, out of a brain aneurysm because I'm thinking too hard about making a difference in the world or an impact in the world. Die happy. So again, I willfully, knowingly, and intentionally engage into this type of stuff because seeing the results. And when you guys go back to some of the comments on the TikTok and all this other social media, you see what kind of a difference it has already made and is still making. That's what leaves a smile on all of our faces. It's that yeah, sometimes we can't save all, right? But we do the best that we can and we make a darn dent into the world as much as we can before we leave, you know? Again, we can't control everything. I can't control everything. I can only do what I can. And right now, my focus is on the immediate local students that you all have seen me carry on, you know, the operations, the talks, like, you know, it's very engaging, it's very funny, but it's very serious. Um, I mean, if you want to know how serious I get and how disciplined I am, how disciplined I make my students, just go back to the YouTube and go to the Sunday sessions. That's when things get really real, and you you see the other side of me. But I have you know, again, I mean, look at Ajahn Chah's disciples, a handful of them, and now they're making such a big difference in the world. So, do I think I'm going to supersede that number? Probably not. Probably not. Probably have a handful of myself before I leave this planet. But it is the quality of the cultivation of the students that will carry on. Ooh, and that you know, I want to cultivate them the best students the world has ever seen. The best students the world has ever seen. And one must walk the path before one can inspire his students to do the same thing that he's doing. So, therefore, I have hoped that I have made um, an impact on all of you. Let's pretend that I will die soon, right? And just look at the past 5 years on social media, notwithstanding 7 years as a monk, going on eight, but just the last 5 years directly, direct examination, direct evidence, direct factual basis of how much I have given, how much I have um, just everything that I have done over the past 5 years. And now my challenge for my students is, you think you can do all this? I'm always challenging, like, you know what? Show me what you can do. I want every student to supersede what I have done in the world. To supersede the amount of one-on-one sessions, supersede the amount of training, supersede the amount of teachings. You know, they have to write more books than I do. They have to do it. I'm going to set the bar so high that the challenge is that they have to beat the bar of the teacher, the standard of inspiration, the standard of monastic success. I don't like to use the word success because I don't know, it sounds mm, just it sounds has different connotations, but that's what I want to see. Um, my students is that I know that I am cultivating these young Dharma warriors that will embrace the new world, embraced just they got it, they got it. I know they got it, and I'm opening up their hearts and I'm clearing all of the negative things in their heart so that they can have a big, gigantic, open heart to take on the sufferings of the world. Right? It's like love. It's like love. How could you love another person when you have not learned to love yourself? And you can't give what you don't have. And my thing is to help them mitigate their own suffering. Let's bring up the past, whatever PTSD, depression, anxiety, bipolar. Well, let's clear it. We're going to clear it. Come with me, walk with me. Let's do this together. And you all are witnessing that on my Sunday sessions. And this Sunday is no different to this Sunday, Christmas. That's just another day to me. It's going to continue. Um, and then once their stuff is resolved, their baggage is resolved quite fairly quickly, um, their hearts will be clear, just like how my heart was. My heart was broken into pieces. My life was into pieces, hit rock bottom, had so many issues, so many problems, and I had to resolve them at a very, very high rate and fast speed in order to serve the people at a very young age. And as a direct result of that, look at the capacity that I'm able to handle and hold. One man that can do it all. One man that answers all of these all of these text messages. One man that's able to have a system of efficiency and effectiveness in handling the masses of crowd. So therefore, I'm teaching my students the same. Everything that I'm learning throughout this whole process, they and other monks who are stepping into this very unique world um, can do and will do. It's got to be done. It's easy being a lazy monk, right? It's easy being an unskillful monk. It's just all these things are just easy. So again they're getting the best available science of psychological organization, of everything. Everything in psychology, everything in neuroscience, everything in psychotherapy, everything in psychodynamics, all of the theories in all of these arts. Um, so that's what it does. So, anyways, let's conclude this talk. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. I think that let me see if I need to add anything. These are very deep and profound talks, so I apologize if you all are bearing with me, but we have some wonderful listeners already, very sustained listeners. So, by the way, each and every single one of you can help me make this difference by share your favorite videos, just go and spread the good news, spread the message. Everything that I'm giving you all, everything that I have displayed, made visible, you all can go and do that. You all can share so many videos by just sitting at home right now. Just do 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 do. That's all of the share features on everything. And that is how you all can make a difference and feel good that yes, indeed, we have a lot of nonsense in the world, the hate speech, the just all of the messes right now that you all are witnessing. But the question and challenge for all of you is, how can you make a difference? How can you just do the little tiny steps that you all can do? You know, And think about it. Literally, you can make such an impact by sharing. This is why Venerable Sarananpala, every bi-weekly, when we do the Buddhist monastic scholar discussions, before he begins the discussions, he says, "No, I have a request to make for all of you to share this so that you never know when someone else can benefit from the teachings of the Buddha. All of you who have been following the teachings of the Buddha since the dawn of time knows that when a monk utters one sentence, and if the right person hears at the right time in the right place, they can literally, you can literally become fully enlightened. You can literally be a saint, an arahant, just from one sentence uttered by a monk. And you don't even have to be a bhikkhu. You can be a novice. You can be a seminarian and utter a sentence, and that will fully enlighten you. So, oh, there goes the power box again. So, anyways, you again, the fact that you all are sharing, the effort to share, the willingness to share, the exercising of sharing the good news. It's no different than the Christianity world, when cardinals and bishops talk about sharing the good news. When Jesus is sharing the good news, you share the good news of Buddhism. This Christmas I'm merging both of them together, and that's how all of you can make a simple difference, which is literally a click of your hand, just moving your little hands around. And for those who want to make, who feel compelled by this talk, who feel compelled by all the programs that I am running, and who wants to make a donation, the link tree, which is on all of my social media platform, there's that link tree, and you go to the link tree, and it's got all the stuff that PayPal, whatever that's on there right now, to help us affect our purpose. And I am right now frantically waiting for the CBT books to come in, the Cognitive Behavioral Therapy book by Wilson and Branch to come in. And again, just last night in a live one-on-one talk, you all see, and I'm so glad that the student did not act out, but it was a student that needed the CBT book and program. It's so funny. It's just like, oh, send me your email. I'll send you the CBT book. And he's like, no, I do well with a paper copy of it. And these students have their preferences, and I gotta have the resources to cater to their preferences in order to retain them and keep them out of trouble. Keep them from jumping off a bridge and arguing with their parents, or getting arrested, or going into the ER. And again, can you imagine if I was slow? Can you imagine if I like delay in my response to some of these requests out there? Our world would not be, would not, we would not have a safe world. I tell you that. So again, I want everyone to reflect on the overwhelming amount of evidence that I have given you all on YouTube live. Just the chronological timeline and the totality of the programs and the visible displaying of these programs, so that you all understand what's happening, and you all stand with me and stand by me, and you all get out there and you all help me affect this purpose of spreading Buddhism, free education. And then, of course, on the shirt it says, help create a new world. And then, underneath that, in the logo, it says free Buddhist education, meditation, and counseling. That's what I'm doing. That's what we all should be doing. And we all can feel good doing that, because they're going to need the education, because a lot of people can't afford education, or don't have education, or not have access to primary education. Quite frankly, yeah, you need math, arithmetic, writing, reading, and all of that. But the most profound education that is needed the most does not require a degree. It requires you to know about the Four Noble Truths. And if our world knows about the Four Noble Truths, we wouldn't have the problem that we're seeing now. And that is exactly what I provide, is free Buddhist education. Then It can lead to meditation, which is a more peaceful cultivation of the mind and heart. And lastly, if it doesn't work, then it gets the counseling, right? So, anyways, it's a very methodical order and a methodical strategy to help the modern day stressed humans that we're seeing nowadays. So again, I'd like everyone to just reflect on all this. It is a quite of a deep talk and will probably require you to replay this 1 hour and 35 minutes. But I know that those who truly, really cares will review, will think about it, and will tell me what you think, and and we will make progress forward. We will move forward with this, however it's going to go. So my strategy is to post this video um, a couple times, actually, probably once every week for like a month, so that it circulates necessarily to get all of the questions answered or the concerns addressed before I make any decisions and endeavors with my students to avoid blame. The Buddha taught us to live a blameless life, and it needs to be no. Though I don't, none of us exempt praise or blame. It needs to be as blameless as possible. Has always been my standpoint on that matter. Um, as possible has always been my standpoint on that matter. Um, and huh, I think that is about it. I think that I have exhausted all the air in my lungs for tonight, and like to conclude my discussion with all of you. Thank you for all being. The power box just died. Let me change power box for a second. Okay. Okay. All right. Now we have light again. Uh, and yeah, I look forward to making more additional announcements. And for some of you, I have a whole set of videos that have yet to be published, so you all can um, look forward to that coming up. And next year is going to move quite fairly fast, and so I like to address um, the upcoming agendas for next year. So just right now, I have like less than a month to wrap up things, and okay. So Frey on TikTok, you can check out my YouTube, and there's a lot of that on my YouTube. Um, my introduction and what I did before becoming a monk. All and podcasts, a lot of podcasts on there. Or you can Google my name. A lot of podcasts will go up to that. So, anyways, you all have a good night and look forward to Christmas Eve. It's already Christmas Eve here in the U.S. and Christmas Day this Sunday. And for those who wants to show up to Blissful Beginnings, I will be having service. Um, again, Christmas to me is just another day, so I will probably bring up Venerable Aloysius Schwartz, who is a Catholic priest, and merge some teachings of Christ and Buddha together. But I also want to give a shout out to Venerable Aloysius Schwartz. I believe he passed away in 1995, but the impact he made in the world and has inspired me to wanting to make the same impact in the world. in poverty and education for children and so on and so on. So I'm just super excited. Again, the world is just now discovering Venerable Aloysius Schwartz when he's been around for quite a long time. He's contributed to the alleviation of suffering and pain, the mitigation of that for Mexico, Korea, and Philippines throughout his life. And he passed away due to ALS. Um, I think it's Lou Gehrig's disease. Uh, Bear with me; it's almost 2 in the morning here. Uh, so I think that I need to raise his name up to the surface of awareness for everyone to know about Venerable Aloysius Schwartz, who is now being in the canonization process to become a saint. Um, Rightfully so. And again, you see that very supportive of the Christianity world. Without Christianity, Buddhism, and all of the other faiths, our world would be in a mess. In a mess. We're already in a mess now, and we need to merge together in unity and interfaith to make sense of our world and to repair it at a very high rate of speed. So, anyways, you all can look forward to the live talk on Christmas Day, 9 a.m. Florida Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Uh, okay, so all right, good. And yes, and everyone on TikTok, please go to my YouTube just in case TikTok gets totally banned by U.S. government. I don't know what's going on with that, and I don't know how long it's gonna last. But we need to act on the information just in case that happens. You all have my YouTube to resort to. Okay. And everyone else too. Go. This is YouTube. This is a very unifying platform for you all to send your message and engage. And I'm there with you, just like I'm here now with you. I'm not going anywhere. It's a very unifying platform for you all to learn, study, and practice with me and with the other 17,000 people that's on my YouTube. So Chi Monk on YouTube, TRI space DAO space monk on YouTube. So if someone can kindly write that right here on TikTok for me as I'm deactivating my other remaining social media.